to blow up the nursery. Because see, white folks, if you see Irish when they bomb, the British, look, white folks, they don't play with each other. So if they killed them people in Waco, and all them other people knew it, they just picked a date and they blew up the Merrill Federal Building, and they had a guy already set up to take the fall for it. Why somebody to take the fall? Because if there's nobody to take the fall, they're gonna keep looking. And if they keep looking, it's like when you lose something in your house, right? And you go around looking for it and looking for it. How many things you find? You find a lot of stuff, right? Man, this stuff been gone for 5 years, and you find it. That's the way it is when you have an ongoing investigation. You find a whole lot of stuff. That's why when stuff happens, they have a fall guy ready to go. So they say, case closed. Why? Because if you look around, right, you got to give an excuse to close the case. Because if they keep looking and looking and looking and looking and looking, they're going to find a whole lot of stuff. And they might find about you and other stuff too. So that's why Timothy McVeigh, he was a fall guy. How somebody gonna be that smart to blow up that building and then be so dumb that they drive a car down the street with no license plate on it? Too dumb. You know, so it was all, anyway, let's get back to the Swiftboat. If you notice the way they're playing this on the TV, you can see that, what's the name, raised in the last few weeks or something, $30 million. I don't know how many millions, without even trying to bite me. He didn't caught up with and passed O'Donnell. Remember that we said that everything, if it's a chance for Don to jump into boiling hot water, he's gonna do it. He's never gonna do what he should do. That's his job. That's what he's hired to do. He's hired to do that. Okay, well, why would they hire him to do that? Okay. He was hired to give the Israelis what he gave them. He was hired to help the Saudis. You gotta remember, the Saudis, you gotta remember the U.S. and his friends can do anything they want. It's all right. Me and you can't do that, but they can. So Saudi Arabia can slaughter people all day long. Cholera, all kind of disease. No problem. They can go to the Turkish embassy and take Khashoggi and just cut him up, put him in a suitcase and take him home. They bring the saws and all that with them on the airplane. Right? And everybody, that's what they do. Okay. Saudi Arabia and the Israelis hated that peace treaty, that JCPOA, whatever. They hated it. I mean, it was clear they hated it. Nobody ever could go through the Congress here and get a standing ovation over and over and over again. Maybe 17 of them at least. Huh?
17.
17? It was Netanyahu. Believe it or not, I heard, I can't prove it. I heard when the Jews met down at the White House, they told Obama, okay, you can go. In other words, you don't need to be in on this. Did you hear that too?
I heard that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's how much power they have. So they made Obama followed orders except on those things. And the thing about Obama is they could have sold ice to Eskimos if they'd have played Obama right. Hey, this guy post-racism in America. That's what they was talking about. They could get him hired, they could bring him in, but they couldn't change them white folks down there. The other white folks down there, their racism superseded all the other stuff they got. That's why the white folks down there said, we don't care what you come up with, we ain't gonna vote for it. And they didn't. Right? Because of that racism was so deep, they hated to see him in the White House. It's a degeneration of what America stands for. And that black woman that's even darker skinned, she's a dark skinned nigga. And the kids is darkies too. And they sitting in the White House. The White House, for white folks. Not the black house, it's the White House. And when they say White House, they mean all the stuff that go along with white, good, great America. And they don't fit it. And he did everything for them. You notice death amongst black people picked up a little bit, all that stuff. Yes, it did under Obama. But what he did was he wanted to cut the troops back, in Afghanistan. He wanted to cut them back. He dropped them down 3 or 4 guys, but he couldn't get it all done. He really wanted to do that. And even in Iraq, he brought a lot of them home. Okay. So what they said was, look, that treaty that Obama made, the nuclear agreement and what have you, and they was really working on that, because John Kerry and them was, hey man, they had that, they were serious about that. It's a great diplomatic feat, they thought. Well, the Jews didn't like it. That's why Netanyahu and Saudi Arabia got closer and closer and closer. You see how close the Arabs and all them people are over there right now. Okay, the point is this. This election, when they elected Obama, they just thought we'd just get this nigga this is a good time to elect a nigga, because the economy is heading down, and it had just broke in 2008, man. But even my prediction was off, because I said by July 2009, it's gonna slow down and slide. It didn't, no sirree. It kept on 2009, 2010, 2011. It didn't stop the slide to the end of 2010, and then it started coming back by 2012. It had got back enough to where he could get reelected. So at that time, he had enough backup to do this JP or whatever it is. Look at what happened when they brought in this guy. First thing he said, he's against the treaty, the worst treaty that had ever happened. Since it wasn't ratified by the Senate, it wasn't technically a treaty, it was an agreement. Okay. Therefore, it was an executive order, so if one executive give it, he can take it back, and he took it back. It's been bad luck for him. They moved the embassy to Jerusalem. To Jerusalem. They moved the embassy to Jerusalem. And this Netanyahu has been perfect for the Israelis, the Zionists. Don't worry about it. They have demonstrations every day to get rid of Netanyahu. So don't worry. All stuff that they think they're getting away with, they're not going to get away with it. This election here, the whole thing, to skip a lot of fundamentals, is to make sure you vote. So as much as they mess up Donald Trump, they keep saying that if he do this, he might do that, right? The media try to keep it close. It's not close. Don had messed up so bad, right, that it's not possible. But the media keeps saying, if he keep it on law and order, if he do this, he might have a chance. They're doing that so you'll go vote. The whole idea, look at everything to scare you into voting. Not only to scare you into voting, but to produce. Donald Trump's mission was to weaken the United States of America as a whole. Weaken it. Why? Because when it's weak, it's still big, it's still got its army, and it'll be more susceptible to the control of the Israelis, the Zionists. When you look at the bottom of this, it's the typical old-time divide, conquer, and rule. And this is not a regional thing, this is a global thing. And we're right in the middle of it. When we put our finger on it, they have people call, this stuff called from all over the world. I had a call from Albania, I had a call from, I don't know how many calls from Iran, and the stuff we was doing on this, going directly on TV on Iran, you see that they stopped it. Why? Because all we said, remember when we were down there, we want to thank the people of Iran for da-da-da-da-da. The guys that's running these TV stations, the big shots over there, that team, they want to break the heart of the Iranian people. See, they own, might call them the Israeli team, they own another team. These guys and the ones that's doing what they're doing, they've been on that team all along. Remember, I've been dealing with this crew personally. I mean, as far as Iranians go, there's no Negro in the United States that's been as closely tied for all of these years and more trusted than by the Iranians. Okay, so they have divided up. You know, after a war, after a revolution, they always have people, some are, like in the United States, they had the Federalists, and they had the Whigs, and they had different groups. Because the Constitution, we want a Constitution, all right, but then they got the states that said, we're not accepting that Constitution unless you accept this bill. We got a whole Bill of Rights. They didn't ratify the Constitution until they stuck on them first 10 Bill of Rights. Right of speech, press and religion and all that, assembly, and to challenge the system, redress grievances. Okay. Donald Trump's job, and he's done, we said he's been 30% accurate from the beginning. But he has been a failure to produce a high enough level to satisfy the people that put him in power. Therefore, now he don't have picked it up yet, but they didn't turn on him. And they ain't turned on him. That's just the way they do. They manipulate everybody. They got Don over a barrel. He can't say, they manipulated me, or they did this, or they did that. He can't say that. Why? because he'd be telling on himself. He can't say it. Okay. So Don is over a barrel. What they want out of this now is, okay, we'll bring Biden in, and what did we get out of this? Okay, we got the embassy there, we got the, what's the name, to try to break the Iranians, but guess what? The world is more toward Iran, because they survived. They miscalculated. They always miscalculate Iran. You know why? They miscalculate because they use their minds and their information. You know, during the war, you could pick up any cab driver. Any cab driver would pick you up at the airport, and he'd take you to your hotel. And how things are, oh, it's so bad. It's this, that, and another. And the reporters would take all that, and they'd bring that back here. The dissatisfaction level in Iran is through the roof. Everybody, and this, okay, they don't know. Iranians are complainers. They're super complainers. But they didn't look what was going on. At the same time they complaining, they're sending their children and they're sending the best pistachio nuts and packages all up to the war front. That's what they're doing at the same time. We see that, they don't know that. And then Iranians themselves, a lot of stuff they see, when you're an observer like we are, you're going to pick up on all kind of stuff. There are observers that know Negroes better than Negroes know themselves. Because they study Negroes. Hey man, when I went to Denmark, it ain't like that now. I would look in them white girls' houses, they would have every black book that was ever printed. And the Negroes just down in Germany and the army, they want to come up to Denmark for the weekend. Why? They can smoke weed and hashish up there, it's legal. And the white girls love them. So 1960s, 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s Negroes that are in the white man's army, and the white girls right up the street, train ride, right? You can go up there, a lot of Negroes never made it back to the army. They got up there with Sweden, man, Sweden and Denmark, they loved, I mean, the white girls would be after you. You didn't have to go find nobody. They'd be, ooh, there's some niggas here. And they had every book. I'm telling you, when I was there, Angela Davis's sister came there and raised, I don't know how much money for Angela Davis. You know, back in the, anyway, here's the point. They don't know Iran. Now, just to give you understand, this Uriah to the hills stuff happens all the time, but you have to pay attention to it. What about Armenia, 20 million people, 25 million people? What did we say for years? Allah is preparing them for something. They don't know what it is. And America don't know what it is either. But they're coming out by the millions. They have no idea. They think they're just going to celebrate Imam Hussein's martyrdom on the 40th day, Arbaeen, and da-da-da-da-da. But the minute they killed Soleimani, a martyr, Qasem Soleimani, you could see it. What did I say? That's why it was right there. That's it. Finished. That's the whole thing. And what did it do? It unified Iraq and Iran, and they've been trying to break it up. They took both of those bodies to Najaf and Karbala, to Iran, Tehran, and all around. And every place, millions and millions came out. And it locked in. So for that period, and for now, that was to lock them in. And when they get locked in, there's nothing you can do about it, because you have to be careful with shields, because you keep scratching them and scratching them. Pretty soon you're going to hit blood. And when you hit blood, all of what they've been hearing, their whole cycle of life. The fountains in Iran, when I was there, the first time during the war, was not water. Well, it was water, but it was red water. And they juiced up. They look. See, if you ain't ever been through it, because that stuff is catchy. No, that stuff is catchy. You know, when I was going around doing all them lectures in the 80s and the early 90s, I was juiced up like them. I was visualizing martyrdom. I'm glad nothing happened. But I mean, you know, people do stuff to you. The white boy, we was dumping some stuff down on Railroad Avenue. I don't know if I told y'all. And the white boy came up, looked like a Hell's Angel with a 357 Magnum. He said, "Put that stuff back on your truck." So who the hell are you talking to? The brother that was with me, he was gonna go. I said, "Hold on, leave that stuff alone. What are who are you pulling that gun on?" So that was all made up. They were studying me. The white boy was part of the study, and the brother that was with me was a tattletale. He was part of, that's when they put on this nigga here has a modern mentality. That's what they said, no, he's got modern mentality. He's not, it just so happens that that's the way we was feeling at that time. And still, there's enough of it, resiliency, floating around to keep you ready. You know what I mean? You don't mind leaving. Okay, now I'm gonna get back to this okie doke that's going on right this minute. They're keeping the election. They're saying that the election is still close. It's possible to be close. It's not possible to be close. The people have turned against God. And plus, the Swiftboat